With the big announcements coming in from the Prime Minister as well as the Finance Minister to really understand what the impact is expected to be on the MSME space. We have Raj Nair, President of the Indian Merchant Chamber, joining in as well. Thanks very much, Mr. Nair. A pleasure to have you on the show. We also have joining us in the studio Muralidhar Swaminathan, Channel Director as well. Murli, over to you.
Morning, Raj. Thanks for joining us. Do you think this 1 crore loan in less than 1 hour is going to be a reality, given that they are going to use the GST portal?
Well, I think that government's intention is fantastic. All the slew of measures announced. I have a bone to pick with this particular one. I'm happy to talk about why I like the other things. Here, there are two issues. One is what is really required is disbursement in 59 minutes after sanction, and not so much 59 minutes for sanction. Okay? Sanctioning is a very critical part of the banking process. It needs evaluation. It's not like giving a consumer durable loan, which with use of technology and algorithms, it's possible to do it in less than 59 minutes. And many NBFCs are already doing it. So it's only a question of installing those systems. But lending to MSMEs, which are in manufacturing, in trade, etc., requires evaluation on many fronts. Even if we say that this 59 minutes start ticking when all the documents are submitted, it will take much more than 59 minutes to even read the documents and then understand. It takes more time to understand what the implications are. So evaluation is something we should not, or let's say credit evaluation is something we shouldn't play around with. I remember Indira Gandhi's 10-point program, which probably was the start of the decline of the PSUs, because everybody and his brother decided that if they lend under the 10-point program, they're okay, they're safe. If they don't lend, they'll be hauled up. This 59 minutes, I really wish the government says, actually we want to actually shift it from 59 minutes to sanction to a situation where in 59 minutes after sanction we will disburse the loan. The money is required. What's the point in disbursing in 59 minutes and taking 2 months to disburse? People want money. So take your time to evaluate, hasten the process using technology, but quickly disburse after you're clear that somebody is deserving of a loan.
Right.
That's my limited point on this.
Yeah. Right, Raj, in this case, the government is going to use the GST portal because, I remember in one of the interviews, the BOB CEO, Jaykumar, had told me that GST portal is a fantastic platform for them to assess the creditworthiness of the borrower. In this case, on the GST platform, I think all the data is available, the track record, the cash flow, everything is available. So given that the government is linking it to the GST portal, do you think that it's going to become a reality? Because GST has changed the way you do business, your net worth, your credit worthiness, everything is available in one click of a button, isn't it?
It's true. In fact, it's a very great thing that the government has thought of using the GST portal as part of the credit evaluation process and to speed up the process. But the credit evaluation and risk analysis covers a lot of things other than what the GST portal has. Does it have anything to do with the past credit behavior and repayment behavior of a borrower? No. Does it have anything to do with the risks that are emerging in a particular sector? No. There are lots of other things that go in. But having that as a platform is excellent. Excellent. All I'm saying, don't rush in 59 minutes. Take 3 days if required. But once you're clear that you're going to give this particular company a loan, give it in 59 minutes. That will be fantastic service.
Nair, I take your point. Credit evaluation, like you said, is something that should not be played around with. We'll only be able to see the repercussions further down the line. And this is a sensitive sector as well that we're talking about, the MSME space. Just another question on this entire 1 crore loan sanction. Is 1 crore enough? I know that's a number that's spoken about in context with a lot of startups. But for the MSME space, it's very different. Should we not be talking about a number of about 20 crores, 30 crores?
Is that question to me?
Yes, that's to you, Mr. Nair.
Yeah. The thing is that 1 crore is a good enough number because as you go down the pecking order in terms of size, the number of MSMEs that require up to 1 crore loan is huge. So it will impact the largest number of SMEs in a sense, although you might argue that a company which has got 200 crore revenue is also an MSME, but those numbers are smaller. So if you want to really impact a large number, 1 crore is adequate.
All right, point taken. The other side of the entire story is, of course, the kind of pressure that the MSME space has been under. Of course, we're coming on the back of demonetization and then followed by GST, and most recently, the entire liquidity crunch that we're seeing, sparked off by the IL&FS default. That's really put pressure on NBFCs, and these are the prime lenders to the MSME space. So the timing of, these announcements coming in from the Prime Minister is not something we can ignore. But my question to you, Mr. Nair, is this enough at this point? There was, some hope that we would perhaps get something that's slightly more meaningful, slightly more immediate in terms of, alleviating the liquidity pressure that these MSMEs are facing.
You see, one of the things, I'm sure the government is aware of all the things that need to be done. I'm sure they're also working behind the scenes with various banks to say, let's buy securitized assets of NBFCs. State Bank was the first to announce that they're going to do a huge amount of securitization. So if in the process they're able to bring a couple of lakh crores back into the NBFC system, it'll help a lot. It'll also help if the RBI were to clarify what the policy announcement means, and that the intention is not to take the MSME sector spiraling down. I'm sure Mr. Patel's intention is not to screw the MSME, sorry for the French, but the point is that there is a lot happening behind the scenes, and I would say it's great that the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister have announced this package. In fact, you've got to look at it from the point of view that besides this thing about providing loans quickly, they're looking at 3 other categories. Reduction of harassment of MSMEs, which is very time consuming and costly. So the factory inspector staff, the environment clearance. I only wish there's a clarity on what penalty will be there for defaulters. Likewise, this development thing which they're talking about, which is really the cluster formation and the support for creating technology centers and training centers. Here again, the devil is in the detail. Excellent idea, if only one could make sure that these technology centers don't descend into becoming like the ITIs, which have failed to do what they're supposed to do. I think once bitten, the government will now see that they don't become like that. Similarly, here for this technology thing, they have actually, the cluster thing, they've actually thought through pretty well. I only wish there that it is not overloaded, that steering committee is not overloaded with non-specialists, because it's a specialist job to evaluate and see how these clusters should be there, what kind of clusters. So more specialists, less non-specialists. And of course, the ease of doing business in the form of forcing repayments, payment of bills through trades and through the GEM portal. It'll help.
One last question, before I thank you, Raj. The mandatory sourcing from PSUs has been increased from 20 to 25%. In practice, do you think that this is effective? Even the 20% limit that is there, are PSUs giving SMEs enough business?
I think PSUs are giving enough business to MSMEs anyway, because the largest number of suppliers and vendors and ancillary are already MSME. They have no choice they can't go and say, I'll start buying things from the top 100 companies, because they're not ancillary companies, they're companies in their own right. So in any case, they're doing, in most cases, probably more than 25%. But the message is more important than action. The message is, guys, take MSME seriously, don't harass them, give them business, pay their bills on time. That's what's really required. But I take your point that in any case they're buying that much or more.
Actually, I'll add one more question. Do you think that all these measures will help lead to job generation? Will employment generation increase in a big way?
One thing for certain is it can prevent companies shutting down for want of liquidity. To that extent, it is employment generation. Then if you look at the development thing, where we're talking about cluster formation and this technology, information and technology training thing, it definitely helps. Even at IMC, we are creating a link with something called the SES in Germany, to bring technical experts to help our MSMEs to improve the way they work so that the productivity goes up, they can expand, they do well, they expand and create jobs. All this works. You'll have to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight, unlike the liquidity or the subvention of interest, which is immediate. This is going to take time and requires a lot of detailed look during implementation.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave it at that. A pleasure having you on. Thanks so much. That's Raj Nair of the IMC, really taking us through what the implications of these announced schemes are. And to your point, Murli, in terms of the job creation part of it as well, traditionally, MSMEs have contributed very significantly to job growth. So we can only expect, coming out of this difficult period of the last couple of years, these measures should be the trick.
I think the most important point Raj made was that they will be prevented from shutting down.
That's right.
They are in a very, very bad tight situation because they don't have large resources to tide over this kind of a crisis. One, money will be made available. Two, it will be at a relatively cheaper cost because the government is going to subsidize the interest cost.
Right.
See, on an average, I think SMEs have to borrow at the rate of 14 to 15%. Nobody gets it 8, 9 or 10%. That luxury they don't have. So 14 to 15%. If 2% subvention or subsidy is given, I think that will be a big relief.
Big relief, absolutely. Thanks so much for joining and putting that in perspective for us as well. But let's put the focus